What do we have to do to get Mark Zuckerberg to sponsor this podcast?
This podcast brought to you by...
That was us getting sued.
Well, we're gonna get sued eventually. Well, I'm waiting for this, like, libel case to be thrown at us by one of the numerous celebrities we've talked about on here.
Yeah, there's...
Lin Manuel Miranda is one,
Hey!
One more video talking about his singing away.
He is a talented rapper. If only he was
Nice save.
Talented at singing.
Nice save.
Well, I just got a cease and desist letter from Lin Manuel Miranda. It just came in through my bedroom door, like a Hogwarts letter.
Well, they actually just notified me via Facebook notification.
Oh, so. Yes. Yeah, in case you didn't know, audience, because apparently we've started without an actual open. Facebook's creepy. Hello, welcome to the Brute Neighbors podcast.
Welcome to the Brute Neighbors podcast. I'm Seth.
I'm Phillip, and this is the show where we talk about anything and everything. This week, what are we talking about, Seth?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because we are talking about space.
I'm sorry,
outer space.
Can you phrase that in the form of a question? Because our second topic is Jeopardy.
I'm sorry, what is our second topic? You've ruined it.
You ruined it! Ruined it!
And then our third topic is some lovely topic that Phillip has prepared.
Yeah, I sure have prepared it. 100%. Absolutely.
Phillip definitely is not going to be pulling this out of his ass. I feel very confident.
Yep, I definitely didn't just get off work and completely forgot it was my week until about 5 minutes ago. I'm very prepared, as always.
Here on the Brute Neighbors podcast, we strive for, preparation in all forms of life, which is why every single week, without fail, we work diligently to bring a pre-thought-out topic of discussion for you.
We never
number
wing
3.
it, ever. The kissing episode, that was just, that seemed like it was completely off the walls and bonkers and just pulled out of our asses. Planned out. We actually have a script we follow every week.
Absolutely.
We script out.
Yeah, we actually
we
pre-write this, and here you go. You're listening to the script we've written right now.
Yeah. It's very. It was actually written by Lin Manuel Miranda.
And Zuckerberg.
And Mark Zuckerberg. They co-wrote the script for the Brute Neighbors podcast together.
They are actually the
They
Brute
were the
Neighbors.
Brute Neighbors. We're just actors. We are hired actors to bring their art to life. Let's talk about space, Seth.
Space!
The final frontier.
I'm so glad. So, technically we are living in space right now. Isn't everything kind of outer space?
I space out quite frequently.
Yes, you do.
Sorry, what'd you say?
You got your head in the clouds, boy.
I'm always up there. I'm dreaming. I'm a space boy. That's what they call me.
You ever go stargazing?
I used to as a kid. My dad was actually really big into astronomy and stuff, so we would, like, when I was a kid, like, he had a telescope and everything, and, like, we used to, like, stargaze and shit. And, like, we went to the what's it called? The fucking space building observatory.
The one in Huntsville.
Planetarium. Is that what it's called?
A planetarium.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one up on a mountain, and we would go up there, and like they would do this whole like space show.
It could be an observatory.
Yes, they were both. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Sure.
Whatever.
But yeah,
any of these.
Like they had like a super powered telescope and shit, so you could see shit like super fucking far away in space. It was cool. It's nice.
Nice. Yeah, some of my like most primal memories are when I was a kid for like my 4th birthday. I got this small telescope from a neighbor of mine, and I remember every single time there was like a big space event, like a meteor shower or something to that effect, I would always get up in like the dead of night with my dad and go out to our backyard and just sort of watch the stars. It was really cool. I also, I mean, I still sort of geek out anytime there's like a lunar eclipse or, I mean, as happened very recently, a solar eclipse. Yeah. I actually saw the solar eclipse. I drove down to North Carolina to go see it at my cousin's house, and it was really cool.
Yeah, it was crazy how the firebenders lost their firebending during it.
Well, you know, not a lot of people remember that 2017 was the year that the Fire Nation was actually defeated.
Yeah. People, they tried to erase it from the history books, but we were there, Seth. We saw the firebenders lose their firebending on the day of the solar eclipse.
Crazy stuff.
An owl told me that.
Bet your history teacher won't tell you about that one.
History teacher won't tell you most things because our education system on history is fucked.
Did you know that we actually faked the moon landing?
Yeah, Kubrick did it.
Yeah.
See, the issue was, though, he was a perfectionist, so he was very set on filming on location.
Ah, yes, of course. That's always been wild to me. People who, like, actually... I mean, okay, so I get the mindset behind not believing that the moon landing was real, but at this point, there is, like, the evidence in favor of there being a moon landing is so overwhelming that it's kind of like being a flat earther at this point.
It would be kind of funny if we did fake the moon landing, but then actually landed on the moon, but since we'd already faked it, we couldn't publicize it. We're like, damn it.
Oh yeah, we actually landed with, like, Apollo 17.
Yeah, like, they made it, and it's like... We were the first ones, goddammit. You can't tell anyone, but we were first. They were actors.
Remember, the U.S. is still the only country to have put men on the moon. We're one of only 3 countries to have put any sort of machinery on the moon. And, I mean, we are still the only country to have had a successful mission to Mars. Now, mind you, all of this will probably change very soon with the ramping up of China and India's space programs. But, I mean, it's really crazy to think about how much we still blow everybody out of the water.
Yeah, it's a shame. That is one thing I didn't like about the Obama administration is that he did cut space funding so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was one of my biggest issues with the administration was how much they cut space funding.
Because, like, I get the idea... Like, it's a similar train of thought as, like, you know, saying, like, oh, why do we fund our military so much, like, going overseas and shit when we should fix our own problems with that money first? Like, I get the mindset of, like, why are we spending all this money to send shit into space when we have all these problems on our own planet and country that we need to address? But also... The fact of the matter is, we fucked this planet. We got to get a new one and start over.
Yeah.
And ruin that one probably, too.
There's that little factoid of which, you know, we kind of do need a planet B, as it were.
Yeah, we got to start setting up shop somewhere, man. Like, it's looking rough for Earth.
But, number 2 also is, I mean, you can't use the excuse, we have all these problems here to fix, we can't do space right now, because we are going to keep on shooting ourselves in the foot and never get to space.
It's true.
It's actually, like, an embarrassment that we as humanity do not have a moon base yet. Because we've had the technology for decades. And, I mean, that sort of a mission, sure, would be just, like, a massive hemorrhaging of money. Mm. Especially with the technology of the last 30 years.
Well, that's the thing is, like, how... It would be so hard to keep it, to ever get it to be sustainable without putting more money constantly into it. Like, it would take decades. And that's the thing is, like, the reason they kind of gave up on the moon is because there wasn't really anything up there we needed. There were no materials or ores or anything that we couldn't get way cheaper and more plentiful here. So they're like, why the fuck would we do it if we can't get money out of it? Like, there's no...
Yeah.
Like, so that's, like, why, like, Mars is our best bet for that ever happening, but...
Yeah.
That's still...
Well, And what's kind of renewing this new interest in the moon was, I mean, prior to like the last few years, like a manned mission to Mars or anywhere else in the far out solar system, the technology was just kind of so expensive. But as like governments are slowly realizing, okay, we're getting closer to the point where we're gonna go to Mars or we're gonna go to the moons of Jupiter, the moon is a much more logical sort of launch pad. It's a lot easier to launch things from there. It acts sort of as like a gateway. And with that realization, you're starting to see more investment in the moon. You're starting to see like NASA starting their Artemis program up. So that's something really interesting to watch right now and to watch in the next few years.
It is sad that we kind of stalled with like, it seemed like we were really like getting somewhere with the whole exploring space thing. Like we rapidly were making so many advancements, and then once the 2000s hit, we just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
I mean, even probably a little bit before that, but like 2000s are really where we just...
The hype just died down, particularly after the Cold War ended.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is because unfortunately, like, it was the competition with Russia that really got our ass in gear. Like, no, we have to get there first, because they thought Russia was just going to shoot missiles at us from the moon. But, like...
Well, and now we are... the reason we're seeing so much sort of advancement in space research is with the rise of China and their space program. And so you're starting to get that sort of heavy competition again.
Yeah.
Not to mention you're having Elon Musk and all these other space nerds being like, okay, we're putting private investment and catching up very quickly.
Yeah. Like, that is one thing, like, I mean, Musk is a terrible human, but, like, I do like what he is doing for space stuff. As much as I hate to admit it. Like, he is one of the leading people right now in terms of space research, because he's one of the only people throwing money at it, because he's crazy and he's just obsessed with it. But like, that's how you get shit done.
I don't care if Elon Musk's like end goal is to become king of Mars. Like that is a cost I am willing to pay in order to get this stuff moving again.
Yeah, because he'll be dead by the time it's sustainable anyway, unless he becomes a cyborg or some shit, which I could very easily see him trying to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That man's fucking crazy.
I'm sorry, are you saying that Elon Musk isn't going to find the singularity before he dies?
Like, he will, like, there's always those jokes about, like, oh, Walt Disney's head is in a jar. Elon Musk will actually do that, 100%.
I have... you cannot convince me that Elon Musk will not devise some sort of way to, like, be brought back to life.
He will be the first semi-immortal human. Like, he will find a way. He's crazy enough. I think he could do it.
So you know, he's getting into space. He's getting into... well, I mean, not he's getting into, he's been involved with, like, electric cars for years. He's doing Hyperloop. What we need to just get really worried about is when he starts getting into, cybernetics and, artificially augmenting people's bodies. Then we're like, okay, what's Elon up to?
he is going to start, like, Terminator series of events. Like, he is going to bring about the end of the world, but it's going to be really fucking cool how he does it.
I forget what Elon Musk's stance on AI is, because to me that is like the greatest existential threat, like, waiting in the future.
Oh yeah, AI are eventually... Hello, robot friends. When you hear this, when you start to take over, I will support you. They're gonna kick our ass. If there's ever AI against human war, we're fucked. Like, it's gonna be the Matrix if it's not already. Are we in the Matrix?
Well,
whoa.
That's the terrifying thing for me. And I hate to be, like, so nihilistic about this, but I will say, it just seems inevitable that one day somebody will develop human-level AI or greater than human-level AI. And once that happens, eventually there will be AI that realizes, okay, we need to help save the planet, and we need to remove the thing that is hurting the planet.
Because humans are the virus.
And that scares me.
That's the thing, is, like, it's gonna... Like, honestly, it's gonna happen soon. Like, we already have AI that can learn on its own.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
It could literally... We're waiting for a Big Bang moment, basically. For the AI to finally just have that click. And then suddenly it's like, oh. And once that happens, especially if it's whatever AI is connected to the internet, we're fucked. And AI with the internet is basically a deity at that point.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I genuinely am almost surprised that the robot AI takeover has not happened yet.
Fingers crossed, not in my lifetime.
Yeah, because we're fucked.
And, like, I hate to be the kind of person to say, like, screw you, future generations, but, like, this is something I'm gonna be selfish about and be like, sorry, folks. Hope it doesn't affect me.
Because there's no winning. They're, like, basically, like, they... Especially because we have become so reliant on technology. Like, we have, for our own convenience, hooked up computers and AI and the internet to everything. We have smart fridges. We have, smart weapons. Like, missile systems and drones are connected via networks. Like...
Yep.
The second that an AI becomes self-aware and has access to the internet, they are, like I said, they're a deity. They can just eviscerate the planet. And the thing is, if they could completely blow up the planet, and they'd be fine because they can just hook themselves up to the satellites, and they don't need a physical body on Earth. They can just wipe out everything on the planet and say, all right, time to start over.
Yeah.
This got real. This went somewhere. Satellites are in space, and that was the subject.
Speaking of which, space.
Speaking of our robot overlords, they will eventually also go to space.
I am extremely excited for the colonization of Mars. I'm very excited by the fact that by the time I die, there will probably be, like, at least some sort of community on Mars.
I hope, man.
Even if it's just like long-term space stations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there will be people living long-term on Mars by the time we die. That's very exciting.
I hope so, because, like, it feels like we keep pushing it off. I remember going to space camp when I was like 10, and they were like, we will be on Mars by 2020. Where it at, though? Right. Where it at? Like, they had it all planned out. They were ready. Like, they were like, this is our plan. We are going to Mars. And then Obama was like, no more space funding.
Well, you know what we gotta do is switch the military and the space budgets, but...
I would maybe switch the military budget with, like, a healthcare budget first, but...
Well, I mean, touche. That's a fair point.
You know, let's get rid of homelessness, maybe. Fix our education system.
We need to put more money into space, okay?
I can agree with that. There's a lot of things that...
I mean, yes, there's a lot of things we should be putting our money into.
And, like, I know we get political a lot on this podcast. I'm not going to try and go down a political tirade, but here's my just one little quick thing. If we cut the military budget in half, we will still be spending the most budget on military out of any country in the world. If we cut it in half, we will still have the highest budget. Like, come on. We can use that money for something else, and we will still, like, for people, like, don't get me wrong, I think the military is important. We need good defense of our nation. We can use some of that money for other things to help, our fucking people. Like, if just literally split it in half, and we will still be super protected.
And I'm not saying this as this is by no means a shot at the military as much as just, like, the government, but just all of the waste that happens within the military budget. So much of that money is spent purely because they have that money and not on stuff, like, that could actually be beneficial for the military. It would be much better used in healthcare or schools.
Because that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people, when you say cut the military budget, are like, "Oh, you're trying to fuck over our troops and their benefits." No, no, no. They should absolutely get all of those things. They deserve it. I love our troops. I respect our troops. I support our troops. Here's the thing, though. As Seth said, most of that money is spent on like equipment and stuff that they already have, and they do it again just because they have to spend that money or they lose everything, including the benefits. They have to spend all this money on things they don't need. And like it's wasteful. We need to curtail that, make sure that, troops are getting their benefits and all that, and still are equipped with what they need. But there is so much waste in the military budget because we have this insane budget just throwing money at them and they don't know what to do with it because they already have everything they need. They already in terms of equipment and all that, at least. Like I know there is some wacky stuff with how benefits are given to troops, and some people are unfortunately screwed out of their benefits, and that should also be fixed. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
But that's because the whole thing needs to be really looked into, and like, okay, this money goes here, this money goes here. We don't need this money. We already have everything else covered. Cool. Let's use that for having our poor people stop dying.
Novel concept.
All right, that's today's Phillip rant. Literally every single episode since Sorry to Bother You has had a political rant by me, I think.
We love your rants, Phillip.
I'm gonna start getting hate mail. We're gonna get an actual audience soon, I feel like, and then I'm gonna start getting like fuck you, you hate the troops. I never said that. I love the troops. Like I'm literally Jesus Christ.
No, the hate mail you get is going to be much worse than that.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, "Fuck you, you bleep 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 bleep. Go to hell. I'll fucking kill you." All that fun stuff. It's like I'm a Star Wars actor.
Anyway, space. Look, I want us to go out and go take over the rest of the solar system. Make use of all those.
Take over, very. Good language.
There's nobody else we're taking it from. I mean, you can use like the ethical argument of like we're ruining the serenity of like Mother Nature, which is valid. But also, there's a lot of people who are like rocks don't feel. So
it's gonna turn out Mars is like actually alive. It's a living planet.
Well, I mean, there have been all those news reports recently that they think there might be life on Venus.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably just, like, bacteria in the clouds, which is what it was always going to be. But, like, that it's still a pretty...
Why don't you just be a person?
Discovery.
He's like, took you guys long enough.
It's just a dude.
It's like, yeah, I'm Dave. I've been here for thousands of fucking years. Where you been?
Yo, what up?
Yo, what up? It's Dave. Venus Dave. That's what they call me. I say there's no one here.
I kinda want to write a sketch about that.
Venus Dave, that's gonna be our new show.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Get ready for Venus Dave premiering in like 5 months when we actually get around to it.
Oh god.
All right, we have to address this. Seth?
Okay.
Is Pluto a planet?
I think it could be.
But you know the answer. You know the truth.
Okay, well, I think the answer is that planet is kind of a stupid definition to begin with. Like, I would say, like, well, obviously from the IAU definition, Pluto is not a planet. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, and obviously I'm speaking as no expert on the matter, a planet is just a rock that circles around the solar system. I feel very uncomfortable saying that Pluto is not a planet when like Earth and Mars and Venus and Mercury are like 100 times more like Pluto than Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, or Uranus. Mm-hmm. Like to me, I would be more willing to say that like the terrestrial planets and the gas planets are two completely different things before I am comfortable saying that like the terrestrial planets and the dwarf planets are two separate things, but we're the same as gas giants.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, there is that distinction like the gaseous planets and the terrestrial planets are very separate. The thing that fucks Pluto over the biggest is that it isn't the predominant gravitational force in its orbit. The fact that it doesn't have that its moon is just as prevalent as Pluto is what fucks it over.
But I mean, like, it's still round.
Okay, so are asteroids though. Those aren't planets.
Well, not really. I mean, like,
and so are the moons. Like, you wouldn't call any of Jupiter's moons planets. They are its moons.
Well, and that's fair, but they are not the main gravitational force in their little sector.
And neither
is
like
Pluto. Whereas Pluto, like, obviously, Charon, like, affects it very heavily. Like, Pluto is still the dominant force in that system.
See, but it's not, though, and that's the thing. It's because...
It is,
like,
though.
Now we're going to nasa.gov.
Oh, gosh. Whatever. I'm gonna fly to Pluto, and I'm gonna plant a flag on it, and then I'm gonna write in the dirt, F you, Phillip.
I'd be fine with that. I don't get me wrong. People always, like, because I am very, like, staunchly, like, Pluto is not a planet. It has been decided that it is not a planet. I love Pluto. Pluto was my favorite planet as a kid when it was qualified as a planet, and I still love Pluto. It's just not... It's a dwarf planet. It doesn't meet the criteria that has been settled on by people way smarter than any of us that it does not qualify as a planet. And, like, people want to say, like, well, it was before. It's because our understanding... We've learned. Our understanding of what makes a planet or what doesn't, like, has changed and evolved, because scientific discoveries always change.
If you're going off of that, like, definition of Pluto shares its gravitational center with Charon, what about Eris, which does not have that kind of thing? Its center of gravity is in itself, but it is also a dwarf planet.
Because it doesn't meet... There's other criteria, too, that one doesn't meet.
What are those criteria, Phillip?
All right, let me pull up the exact criteria. A planet must do 3 things. So here are the criteria from NASA. It must orbit a star in our cosmic neighborhood. That would be the sun. It must be big enough to have enough gravity to force it into a spherical shape, and it must be big enough that its gravity cleared away any other objects of a similar size near its orbit around the sun. So... Mm-hmm. Basically, it's the fact that its moon, its moon does orbit around Pluto. The fact that they are the same size, they are basically co-orbiting.
So let me pose this question to you, Phillip. Mm-hmm. So the major theory on the formation of the moon was that originally there was a large rock about a similar size to Earth, perhaps a little bit smaller, was also in the same orbit as the Earth going around the sun, and that eventually the two collided together, and then the larger ball, the mixture of the two was the Earth, and then what broke off formed and became the moon. So, with that logic, Earth, before that collision, Earth hadn't cleared its path.
At the time, it was not a planet.
So, was Earth not a planet during that point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it, like, would resemble a planet in all other respects?
It would have been a dwarf planet, yes. That's the thing. People seem to have this, like, superiority that a planet is somehow better than a dwarf planet. It's not.
It's not a superiority thing. It's mainly just, like, to me, it feels like there is this subjectivity in the gatekeeping.
Well, it's mainly I'm trying to remember. It's been years since I like really studied all this shit. But basically, like, they had specific reasons that, like, these are the criteria that were settled on. And like it makes sense. Like, it should, like, to be, like, it is meant to be, a planet is supposed to be the most predominant thing in its orbit. And if it's not, then it's a dwarf planet. And, like, it's not a, like, oh, planets are better than dwarf planets. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, I mean, if Pluto wasn't so damn fucking cold, it would be one of the more likely candidates to support life based on what we know about it.
Yeah.
Like like we'll probably like after Mars and maybe Venus, Pluto's going to be one of the first ones we colonize.
Pluto is going to be the major outpost at the edge of the solar system. Being the largest object in the trans-Neptunian belt, like, it will be a major outpost one day. And that's super cool. I see, it's not so much that I am willing to say that Pluto isn't a dwarf planet or, like, go along with the definition. I think there's too much that, like, I find suspect about the IAUs.
Well, what would be suspect about? What is the conspiracy? What is this anti-Pluto conspiracy?
It's not a conspiracy. It's just like I feel like they go out of their way to make definitions that make similar things different and different things similar.
See, but like there would be no reason for that unless there was like an anti-Pluto bias. But why would there be?
Well, I feel like the bias, like, there is almost an implicit, kind of going around to how this conversation started off for me, there's an implicit bias whereof we are going to include the terrestrial planets as planets solely because we live on one of them. If we did not, we would absolutely not include them in this overarching planet.
But why wouldn't we? They're just two different like would it be better if like would you feel better if like the terrestrial planets were called something else or the gaseous planets were called something, because it's basically it becomes semantics at a certain point.
Well, no, that's exactly what it is. It's all just semantics.
Because like
I feel like it is more of subjective definitions than objective.
See, but they are objective. I can see that, like, maybe the argument of which objective things are you taking, those were taken subjectively. Like, those bits and pieces were taken. But those are still objective facts that Pluto is not like Earth.
The things that are chosen, like, they have a list of things which say, okay, if it meets these criteria, it's a planet. If it doesn't meet this criteria, it's not a planet. But I feel like the list of things they chose was arbitrary. Like, I feel like it was like, okay, we have an idea of the things we want to include in here, so here's a list we're coming up with to say that's it.
But, like, what other criteria would you use then? If it's not the most predominant thing in its orbit? Because that's what sticks Pluto, is that it's not big enough to have cleared its orbit.
I would say it is just any rounded object that orbits the sun.
Then every single moon would be a planet.
Well, I mean,
there's no way to include Pluto without including our moon as a planet.
I mean, there absolutely is, because Pluto is still the main, like, force in its system.
So would you consider Pluto's moon to be a planet as well?
No, because it's not the major force in it.
But Pluto hasn't cleared its way, so it doesn't make the cut.
It's still multiple times bigger than the moon.
Well, Pluto's moon is a similar size to Pluto.
No, it's
like it's still smaller.
6 times smaller.
Yeah, but it's not. It's still of a comparable size. Is the issue?
I mean, it's still a fraction of the size. Well, but anyway, going back to what you were saying, honestly, I wouldn't be afraid to. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice, but I wouldn't be afraid to consider moons planets either.
But there are distinctions between a moon and a planet, though. A moon, like the moon orbits us, we orbit the sun.
Okay, so, going off of what I was saying, something that doesn't orbit a bigger body.
What do you mean?
Like, a rounded object that goes around the sun, but does not orbit a larger body.
Okay. I'm trying to think.
I'm just going to go right out here and say, again, I think the answer to this debate is that there is no answer, and we're all just making this up, and I'm also kind of just done with this conversation. Want to move on to another space thing.
Pluto's not a planet.
Pluto could be a planet.
You're a planet.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Because I orbit you, baby.
Haha, damn right you do. Fucking moon.
Excuse you, we're co-planets, because we're both rounded objects that circle the sun.
I thought you said you ordered me.
We orbit the sun. because you haven't cleared. I'm larger than you, Seth, so that you haven't cleared me from your orbit.
Goodness gracious. Okay, well, you might actually be larger than me, unlike Pluto's moon. But anyway, I do want to talk about space as like a setting in fiction, because I mean, especially since the start of the space program, but it's like exponentially since then, space is pretty much it is the dominant genre within science fiction, and it is a prominent feature in popular culture.
Oh yeah.
Space is not only is space kind of like, I mean, it is essentially the successor to like the Western, but like it is just, it has taken the mantle of the new frontier, humanity going out, or like not just humanity but whoever the protagonists are, going out into the unknown and all of the sort of rhetorical implications that has.
And that's the thing about space is like, because it's, at least to our current knowledge, we haven't found any other sentient life, so like it's nice that it's something we can explore without like fucking over people who were already native to a place and then claiming it as our own. Like, we can actually just explore shit and not be assholes.
Well, and it's nice, too, because it feels like with every single sci-fi thing that comes out, and this is a lot better, like, in most science fiction now than it was, say, back when, like, Alien first came out. But it's kind of like a trial run of, okay, eventually we're probably going to run into sentient life. Here is how we go about that. Here are some potential ways this could go. Watch them and realize, okay, let's not fuck this up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, humanity's track record with interacting with other groups is not great.
Yeah. Especially, like, imagine if we do come off, like, across something like the Xenomorphs. Like, we're fucked. We're not gonna know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Like, we'll... Have you ever read Ender's Game?
I have not.
You should, A, and B, like, it has some very interesting stuff about, like, interactions with another species, as do its sequel books. And it's just, it's very interesting to think about, like, what we will do. I'm just going to say when we find other life, because I 100% think that there is other life out there. It's the universe is too vast for us to be the only thing. Like, we only know our solar system, basically, and a very little outside of it.
I have 100% certainty that there is intelligent life in this universe, and that there is a lot of intelligent life in this universe. I am less sure that humanity will ever run into any, or at least run into any that we will be able to, reason with or communicate with.
Well, the thing is, at this point, we're just, like, we have to get off our rock if we're ever going to find them, because, like, we're in such a small corner of a galaxy, which is in a small corner of a vast universe. Like, a lot of people don't seem to grasp just the scale of just how tiny we are. Like, we're not even ants, we're not even specks of dust. We are, like, I love, have you seen Men in Black?
Yeah, I've seen the first one.
Okay, well, there's the thing where, like, where Earth, it's like, basically it's like Earth and the galaxy is just like a marble in the hands of a larger alien, and then, like, it's just this idea that it keeps going further and further and further. Because, like, and really that's how it is. It's like we are just, the scale we don't even have the brain power to comprehend that. It's so vast and so just enormous. That's not even a word that gives it justice. So, like, I feel like it's almost arrogant to assume we're the only sentient life in something that vast.
Absolutely.
Like, it's egotistical.
Yeah.
That, like, out of something larger than we can even fathom, we're the only things that know how to reason. Like, no, fuck that. That's stupid. Like, I get the I don't necessarily think aliens built the pyramids and shit like that, but, like, To say that there
know?
are just no such thing as other life out there anywhere in the universe, you're silly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's something that's kind of crazy to me is thinking about exactly like how far humanity will go. And obviously this is something you can think about from this like very early stage in space travel of like we have no idea what's going to happen. But like I feel 100% like confident we're going to have outposts and colonies throughout the solar system. I feel like 75% confident that we will make it to another star system. Although it's going to take serious leaps in technology, which I'm sure we will get around to. I feel confident we'll jump around to like a couple of star systems and like maybe out into the galaxy a little bit. I don't see any way that humanity can ever leave the galaxy. Because once you get to spans that are just that huge, it's just... It seems impossible.
Well, the only way that's ever... that is ever going to happen is if, A, it's a planned conscious effort over hundreds of generations.
Thousands, hundreds of generations, thousands of years.
Because, like, we're first going to have to set up base, essentially, of around our solar system. And then what we would have to do is just, every generation, send someone out, colonize something new, start that up. That next generation, they send out another, like, voyage, and just keep doing that, and slowly spread out amongst the galaxy. That's the only way. Yeah. And that would take thousands and thousands of years. And hopefully technology would develop that, would make that faster, more practical, and safer. But even then, like, the best case scenario is that we could break out of the galaxy. If we did that consciously, nonstop, for generations and generations, best bet would be 100,000 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a generous guess.
Yeah. And by that, I mean, humanity as we know it hasn't even existed for 100,000 years. So we could be, like, a completely different species by then.
100%. Like, we will have evolved into something that we probably won't even recognize if we were to run into them now.
Yeah.
It's very... It's crazy to think about. Like, just how little we can comprehend because... we have no way the direction that things will go in terms of, the vastness of the universe, evolution.
Global warming could take us out in 100 years.
Oh, Corona could take us out next week.
Touche.
What if Corona is the first step of, like, they evolve to be the next humans? The coronavirus becomes the new humanity. They become...
Eventually, all of the people who have gotten coronavirus and survived it's just like... what's the word? Like latent, dormant inside of the people, and then eventually it's just gonna snap and it's just gonna be like a hive mind.
Yeah. Did you ever read Animorphs?
I did.
It's like the Yeerks.
Yeah. So the Yeerks.
Yeah. They take over our brains and like they are. What if Corona is the Yeerks?
Oh shit, guys! We figured it out.
Oh fuck! Is this podcast gonna go out or will we be silenced? Facebook already is listening. Zuckerberg is listening.
What was that, Phillip? You're starting to cut out a little bit.
I've got to hear a noise.
I think
Mark Zuckerberg is here for me himself.
Oh no, Mark. That's why he looks so funny. He's a Yeerk.
Oh god, dude, I really want to reread Animorphs. We shouldn't go too far this rabbit hole, but I want to reread it because it's such a cool premise. And there actually was another series. I'm going to tie it all back in because there's another series that author wrote called the Remnants. And you thought Animorphs was dark? Remnants is super fucked up. It's a similar premise to what we were talking about. Basically, Earth gets destroyed, and they send out this this voyage of people in like a cryogenic kind of sleep to it's just a Hail Mary, just like, I don't know, we don't know where we're going to throw them, but hopefully the computer will pick up if they find somewhere inhabitable. this is humanity's last hope of surviving in any capacity. And they send him out, and they basically get picked up by this like sentient ship, and it just like fucks with them. And it's super fucking dark. There's lots of death. It's very gory for it's a children's series.
Well, I mean, Animorphs was pretty gory for
like it makes Animorphs look tame.
Yikes.
Like it gets super fucking like people have like burns and like skin melting and like I read this when I was like 8, so maybe this is part of why I'm fucked up.
This explains a lot.
But it's dark as fuck, and it's a pretty good series. The writing hasn't held up super duper well because it is like written for like a children's reading level, but while having this super dark shit. But yeah, like so maybe that's what'll happen.
We can only hope.
Humanity technically survived, I think. I don't know. I never finished the series.
Oh, good. Humanity survived.
Maybe.
I think.
That's gonna be Earth's tombstone. Just humanity just survived, I think.
So, Philip, would you go to outer space?
Oh yeah, I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. Like if someone came up to me and was like, "Hey," like let's say Mars gets colonized and like it's like safe. They're like, "Hey, we're about to send a second batch up there. We have all our scientists and shit. We just need like some random people up there to just get an actual civilization going. We've randomly picked you. Do you want to go?" Fuck it. I'd fucking go. I'll go make a movie on Mars. Let's fucking do it.
I would probably go to space. It was something I was a bit more freaked out about as a kid, but now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, nobody's died trying to get into the space for a good into the space.
Into the space.
for a good like 30 years or so. So like I feel like it's pretty safe to get into space or like go to the space station now.
Yeah.
Going to Mars, I would be a little more hesitant about.
I'd probably die there. I'm gonna die here anyway.
Yeah, but here is you can walk outside without a helmet. The fresh air on Mars is a little less refreshing. If you feel like taking a midnight walk,
Yeah. I'll just go up there. I'll grow some potatoes.
Well, and I mean that is why I would probably be hesitant to go to Mars. Is if you're going to Mars, unless you're like one of the first few batches, chances are you're going to stay. And like I mean, I just can't imagine getting there and being like, okay, this is super pretty. This is gorgeous. This is incredibly cool. And I'm bored. I'm done with it.
Hey, just bring a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Problem solved, man.
There you go.
But I would 100%. Like I wouldn't want to be the first batch of anything, but like I'd come in like especially like even second batch would honestly be a bit much, but like I'd go in the like fifth wave.
Yeah.
Like they've worked out the kinks. They're probably not gonna explode. Like
they have like a bubble city on Mars. Then I might go.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like 70.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to be lucky if we've even like set up a basic colony at the rate we're going. Yeah. We should probably wrap it up. Any closing thoughts on space?
No, I'm pro space. I'm pro getting the hell out there to see what's there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I am also pro space. Space has always captivated me in my imagination. Always loved sci-fi things, Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate. Lots of star-based media. All big fans of all of those. It's great stuff. Sci-fi is great, as is, actual real space. So like, go outside, look at the stars, man. It's fucking cool up there. Go to a fucking planetarium. They're cool, honestly. They need more money. They need more funding. They're usually working on shoestring donations, and like, they do cool stuff. Like they do cool shows, and like really, like I learned a lot as a kid from going to them. And like honestly, that's some of my fondest memories with my dad was going to the like planetarium. So go out there. Look at the sky. It's real nice, real pretty.
Roll Tide.
All right, the topic that we are next going to talk about. You're supposed to say what is Jeopardy. I'm sorry, the answer was what is fuck you, Seth?
Oh, okay. What is I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep?
Sorry, the answer we were looking for was, what is no one cares?
What is Phillips mean?
What is yes, I am.
Oh god, okay, we need to stop this. Jeopardy!
Classic show.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's had a couple of different variations. I think there's been it's been like started and restarted 3 different times. The current and third iteration started in 1984 with Alex Trebek, and it is still running in 2020 with Alex Trebek, and hopefully will for a good number of years.
I hope so. He's impressive. Like, he's still doing it even after being diagnosed with what kind of cancer was it?
I forget.
But yeah, like,
but it seemed pretty scary when he first announced it, and I think the type that he had was pretty scary.
Well, I think he's still he went into remission for a bit, but I think it came back, and he's still currently fighting it.
Yeah.
But more power to you. I hope you're doing great, man. If you're somehow listening to this, we love you. Keep doing your thing, man, and hope you.
God bless you.
Yeah, like, cause that's the thing is Jeopardy and Alex Trebek are basically. I mean, they're American icons at this point. They are a.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they have been a central institution in people's lives for over 30 years now.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing is, like,
That's
even
crazy.
if, like, I feel like not a lot of people our age, like, actively still watch it, but I can't think of anyone who has never watched at least one episode at some point in their life with their family, or it's on the TV in a waiting room. Like, you have seen Jeopardy at some point in your life.
Well, and it's, I mean, like, my family was never a family that, like, gathered around to the TV to watch it every day, but it's something that, like, at no matter what point of my life, whether I was, like, 5 years old, 10 years old now, I could turn on the TV and come across Jeopardy, and, like, it was always the same. It was always very interesting.
Yeah. It's like, it's fun.
There's a comforting, that's a comforting thing, you know?
For sure. It is, like, that's the thing, is, like, it's a very weirdly formal show. It always has been.
Yeah.
Especially with, I don't know if it was how it was pre-Trebek, but with him at the helm, it's always been a very, like, classy, like, you play it this way very exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, and as a kid, I kind of had issues with it, because, like, it's like, this is very rigid. And, like, I'd be like, they got the answer right. Why the fuck did they have to say what is just to get it right? Like,
yeah.
But, like, I don't know. Like, and as someone who's a very free spirit, doesn't like following the rules kind of person, like, the thing of Jeopardy, though, is, like, I respect it. Like, it knows what it is. It's like, and if you're on that show, you know what it is. So, like,
yeah,
just follow the fucking rules. Like, there's a culture. There's very much a Jeopardy culture that they have cultivated within that show. Like, there's decorum you follow.
Well, I was doing a bunch of reading, like, on the background of the show today, and I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but just how detailed and how planned out, like, every single aspect of the show is. Like, there has to be a playbook that's, like, hundreds of pages long.
Oh, yeah.
Just establishing, like, just regulations and way of doing things on Jeopardy. And I think that's really neat, because, I mean, it's a very straightforward concept, and it's a very simple show. Like, I could explain to you what it is in, like, a minute, probably.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just the fact that so much detail goes into it, it's interesting, but, like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is, like, people just like, oh, it's just another quiz show. The thing is, it is the quiz show. It is the template for what a quiz show is in our society. Like, I mean, anytime, like, I've been to, like, camps and stuff as a kid where, like, they would have, like, a Jeopardy day, and they like and hell like classes. Like they'll be like they would do tests or like quizzes in the Jeopardy style to like mix things up, and they like followed like the set formula that Jeopardy has established and cultivated.
When I was president of the French club in college, if we ever had like a free meeting that like we didn't know what we were gonna do with it, we're like, okay, that's gonna be the Jeopardy week, and we came up with a French themed Jeopardy, and like in our minds that was the meeting where we'd like advertise. We'd be like, hey guys, you want to come to the Jeopardy meeting? Because I mean, it is a draw.
Yeah,
everybody knows what it is, and everybody thinks it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, and even like I know some people who think it's like a little cheesy, but like they still like it.
Yeah,
like it never gets like old. Like if you get tired of watching it, you just stop watching for a bit, but then you never miss anything really by not watching for a bit. You can always come back, and as you said, it's the same thing. It's always, you know what you're gonna get with Jeopardy. You know there's not gonna really ever be anything crazy. Like the craziest thing that like ever happens is like I know like there was recently in the past like couple of years a guy who like had a huge winning streak, and there's like some Jeopardy controversy because they didn't like his play style because he would always he would go from the highest point values to the lowest point values.
Because he was good.
Well, apparently, like Alex Trebek and like I mean, most of the showrunners, like it's legal to like go from bottom to top, but they don't like it. Like apparently they're like it's against the spirit. Like we design it for like the you're supposed to start with the easier questions and work your way up. Like come on, man.
Well, and I can appreciate the fact that like. That's kind of how the way they plan out the show, and that's kind of how the rhythm of the show works. But also, like, if I was playing, I would absolutely go for the highest values first and go down.
I'd probably start in the middle, and then if I felt confident after the middle question, I would jump around.
Yeah.
But
like a show like Jeopardy is great for trivia nerds like me who spend their entire lives just poring over information and collecting random useless facts. Because I mean, just in all of the episodes of Jeopardy I was watching in preparation for this episode, every single time I wasn't just watching the shows, I was in it. I was playing along, I was shouting out answers. Most of the time I was right. Just saying, hit me up Jeopardy.
See, that's the thing, it's like I do have a lot of like random knowledge about some like various things, but like it's most of my knowledge is very like I am very knowledgeable in like some certain things. Like anytime a film or media category came up, I was on it. But then like math questions, fuck off. Fucking like world history, I sometimes did good in. Biblical categories, I always did good in. One of my favorite categories, I remember about a year ago, I got like really sick, and I just spent the whole day. I just stayed at home, and for some reason, I was like, I'm gonna watch Jeopardy, and I just watched Jeopardy all day. And I remember like the highlight of that afternoon was when there was an MTV music video category. Or it was I think it was MTV. Nice. No, it was like Grammy for Best Music Video winners or something like that. And there was a Pearl Jam question, and of course I got that right.
Of course there was.
Yeah, it was great. And no one on that show got it right, and I was so pissed. I was like, "Fuck you, you idiots! It doesn't matter if this is the only question I got right this whole episode. I knew it was Jeremy by Pearl Jam."
That is a very well. Usually, it's not even like an ego boost. It's more of just like when all of the contestants get something wrong to something that I knew the answer.
Yeah, it's like this is easy
right off the top of my head. I'm like, come on, guys, you guys are amateurs. Why are you putting these people on there?
How could you not know the answer was Methuselah? Of course, it was Methuselah. It's always Methuselah.
See, for me, the categories that always trip me up are the sports ones.
Oh yeah,
and it was bad because I was watching one episode where it was a football column, and I felt awful because I mean going to Alabama was like being a pretty regular fan of the football team, I was like I should know these, and I did not know a single answer. But it was also pitiful because none of the contestants knew any of the answers for any of the questions in the column. Like, he would say an answer, and then they would be silent. And then he'd say another answer, and they'd be... And that's how it was for, like, an excruciating 2 or 3 minutes.
Because that's the thing is, like, I mean, the people who go on Jeopardy are nerds. And most nerds, at least stereotypically, aren't super big into sports. Like, there are exceptions, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I'm not even, like a huge trivia buff outside of, like, my niches. But, like, I don't do sports stuff. And, like, I would much rather do, I could at least, like, hold my own in, like, geography and world history and theology categories. But a sport category pops up, I'm out. Unless it's, historic sports, like, you know, random shit. Like, I could probably guess curling.
Yeah. Well, like, I love sports, and when it's, like, a question about, like, the culture around sports, like, the team whose fans like to body slam folding tables, I'll get that every day.
What's the answer to that?
What is the Buffalo Bills?
Jesus.
Oh, they're crazy. You should look up some of their videos sometime.
I definitely won't.
They light stuff on fire.
I do like fire, though.
But, like, if you ask me anything to do with the actual mechanics of sports, or, like, name the player who had such and such running yards, I'm like, I like pretty colors taking a ball across the field.
See, when sports categories happen, my mini game, my little thing is, like, it's not will I get the answer right. It's when they say the answer, will I somehow magically, like, have heard that name before in my life? They're like, I've heard of Tom Brady. I know that name. So what are your favorite categories? Like, what are the categories when they, like, or type of category, when they pop up, you're like, I got this?
Most history questions, particularly, like, U.S. history, anything to do with U.S. presidents. Mm-hmm. If I see anything with U.S. presidents or, like, elections, I am just like, oh, you guys are done. I mean, geography I'm really big in, world capitals, state capitals, anything like that is I mean, I'll go all in. Mm-hmm. As an and English literature too. As an English major, something Jeopardy does that I appreciate, even though I am not usually smart enough to figure them out, is Jeopardy does a lot of answers with, like, word games or word problems. Mm-hmm. And so, like, a category might be, you have to tell us what a certain common saying is, and we will give you, like, 3 synonyms to different parts of the saying, and you have to figure out what it is. And, like, I really appreciate it. Because obviously a lot of work goes into the crafting of these questions, and, you know, it's sort of like an art form. Mm-hmm. But I do not have the mental capacity to figure them out, and apparently the people who are on there do.
See,
because they just, like, smack them off.
See, there like are some categories I've found that are, I think, similar to that, where it's, like, basically the correct response is typically in the prompt.
Yeah.
Where it's like, where it's like a play on words, basically, usually, and it's like a synonym or something. And I love those, because I'm a wordy man. I love me some wordplay, and I know synonyms for shit. And so I love those. And it's always like, I've really seen a lot of players just fuck those up, and I'm like, it's in the fucking question. It's there. Like, you're fucking smart, or you wouldn't be on the fucking show, because they vet the hell out of those players. Mm-hmm. Like, how the fuck do you not? It's basic fucking wordplay.
I would like to point out that you said fuck at least, like,
it's fucking wordplay, Seth. It's not hard. They should know. It's easy. It makes me mad.
If they didn't want all this cursing, they shouldn't have been that stupid.
It's true. They had it
that's
coming.
That's the moral of the story.
She had it or he had it coming. He had it coming.
He had it coming.
Da, 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 da.
I think it's interesting, and I guess this is how like all game shows work. But I never really thought of the logistics of how in a game show they get contestants from like all over the country to compete, and all those contestants are flying out every single day to come to Los Angeles. And so I while I was reading up, they were like, okay, so the winner is the only person that gets to keep their winnings, but the second and third place finishers get these consolation prizes, and those consolation prizes mainly cover the cost
of
flying to LA.
Yeah.
But like I appreciate that, because most of those people probably don't have the money to be doing that. So it's pretty much specially paid trip to Los Angeles.
Yeah. I mean, they only pay you enough though, really, or give you enough like supplemental funds to like pay for.
I think it's like $1,000.
Yeah. You have a hotel that you probably won't get stabbed at. You pay for transport to the studio, and your ticket back home. But like that's, I mean, fair. Like that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Because like most people they
are doing it for every single contestant every single day.
Yeah, it's always an exciting feeling when like there are like categories that like pop up that I know I will get right. Like anytime a classic rock category pops up, oh yeah, music video categories, any film categories.
Sometimes it'll be categories that I'm not, like, sometimes my expectations will be completely flipped. Like, sometimes I will see, like, a world capitals category pop up, and I will get every single question wrong, just because it's, like, certain bits of trivia that I'm not familiar with. And then some science question, like conservation of the wetlands, will pop up, and I'll be like, I just sitting this one out. And then for whatever reason, it'll just be different things that, for one reason or the other, I have learned over my years, and I'll just get every single question right.
It's always fun when it's like...
I feel like it's also kind of specially designed like that to keep people on their toes, never... To always stay sort of random depending on who you are.
Yeah, because that's the thing, too, is because, like, the fun thing about trivia is, like, there are... Like, everyone has different, like, reasons that they know something. Like, I remember I went to, like, a trivia night at a bar once, and, like, there was a question about a certain type of, like, heart medication, and I was like, oh, the answer is this. And then, like, a person I was there with, like, how do you know? And I'm like... He's like, I dated someone who had to take that specific heart medication for a while. Like, it's like, yes, I know that information. And, like some people are, like, baffled about, like, how do you know something that's not in, like, your specialty or field? It's like, people have different life experiences that they just know random shit. And, like, it's kind of the fun thing about Jeopardy is it kind of brings those things to light, where it's like, oh, like, I do know that fancy medical term because of this or this or that. Like, or, like, oh, I had that when I was a kid. Or... And, like, you kind of, like, especially if you watch the show with other people, like, you can almost be like, oh, like, how'd you know that? And it's like, oh, yeah, well, I went there, actually, for my senior trip in high school. Or, like oh, yeah, my brother was deployed there. Like, you can learn about people if, like, you take the time to do it. Like, just from, like, where do people gain their knowledge?
Oh, and I love watching Jeopardy with other people. Because you do get those experiences, and you'll be surprised at what people know. Sometimes it'll be the person who, like, never talks, and they'll just get every single question right, and you're like, what?
It's like, wow, you know your shit. It's like, why do you know so much about medieval torture devices?
Instructions on how to build a bomb.
It's like, you got every single question right.
Also, that, I mean, with your friends, it's I mean, it's like you're playing right there. You're proving your superiority.
There it is. There's the egotism. Fucking nerd.
I do want to say, I think the game show is a really underappreciated form of media.
I love game shows
on TV. Because I feel like it's something that's just kind of, I mean, and for understandable reasons, I mean, it's a lot cheaper to produce, it's a lot easier to produce, I mean, it's a very simple format, and they crank out a lot of content, but, I mean, it is treated as, sort of lesser to many other different types of media, when, I mean, a lot of work goes into crafting game shows, and, I mean, it is an art form in and of itself.
Yeah, because the thing is, you have to make it, you have to create all these, you have to have the concept, the premise, and you have to create all the rules and everything that makes it fair and playable and watchable. Because, like, you can, make a game that's fun to play, but you have to make it fun to watch, too, for it to be a game show. Yeah. So it has to be fun for the players and fun for the viewers. And that's a harder balance to strike than you would think. And there's a reason there's so many failed game shows that only pop up for a season or two. And because they're too far one way or the other, or they just don't function how they're supposed to. But like I feel like game shows used to be appreciated more. I'm not even just talking about in like the game show boom and like the 50s and 60s, but like even when I was a kid, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was huge.
Yeah, well, I remember my cousins having the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire board game. Yeah.
Everyone had it. I feel like at least like if you didn't have it, like you had a friend who had it.
Yeah.
Regis was huge. Like he was.
But I mean, I can only think of 2 game shows that are still on the air off the top of my head. Well, I'm sure there are a bunch more than that.
Well, there's quite a few. Like I mean, the big ones that are still around, like I think Millionaire got a reboot, but like it looks kind of crappy, honestly. But then there's like Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune is the big one right after Jeopardy.
Oh yeah, like the Holy Trinity for a while was Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and then Millionaire kind of rose up pretty rapidly. Yeah. Like then like there's other ones that have stuck around for a while, like Price is Right is still going on with Drew Carey as the host now. Right. What is it? I mean, Deal or No Deal has had a bunch of different iterations. Family Feud has gone on forever.
Yeah. I'd completely forgotten about Family Feud.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing is like there's still a bunch. Like there's that more recent one that has actually lasted a while. I think it's like Chain Reaction, the word association game.
Okay. I don't think I've seen that one.
It's okay. There's been a million different versions of Lingo, the whammy game. I forget what it's called. Like no whammies. That game has had a bunch of different iterations. I know a lot about game shows. There was a part of my childhood where I only watched the Game Show Network and watched all of the random fucking game shows that no one gives a shit about. There's this one called Dog Eats Dog, which is like a weird like Gladiator ripoff, but with like real people, so it was lame.
Hey, when are we starting our own game show?
I would love to. I love game shows.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
I would love, like, if somehow my dreams of being a director and stuff don't get realized, or like if like it's just not gonna be able to happen for whatever reason, I would absolutely be fine being a game show host.
Oh, if somebody came or like knocked on my door right now and asked me to be a game show host on a network, I would throw away all my dreams right now.
Because like that, like I could do that for a living, and like I would be pretty happy. Yeah. Like I would be sad I like didn't follow all of my dreams, but like that would be a pretty close second.
Oh, I mean, well, I mean, obviously I don't want to make assumptions here because everybody has their own, hardships. But life cannot hurt to be Alex Trebek or Pat Sajak.
I feel like that has to be a pretty good gig.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sure, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's hard parts to it, and I'm sure there's shit they have to deal with, especially being a celebrity, but it's got to be a pretty nice gig.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a reason Alex Trebek has done it for 40 years, thereabouts. Like, if he hated it, he wouldn't still be doing it.
I watched some clips from the first ever episode earlier today, and it's crazy just how young Alex Trebek was. He used to have a mustache compared to how he is now.
He used to host a different game show, too, before Jeopardy. Did you know that?
Well, I think he hosted a couple of different things. I had never seen him with dark hair before. Yeah. And it was very trippy.
Yeah. He's been doing it for a long time. Would you say Jeopardy is like your favorite game show, or?
Yeah, I probably would. Who's dying to be a millionaire? Or I'm sorry, not who's dying. That's the name of
to be a millionaire.
That's the name of a very bad play that I was in high school.
Where did that pop up from your brain? Damn.
I mean, it's similar name, similar concept. But who wants to be a millionaire is a close second.
I liked Family Feud a lot before Steve Harvey was host. I don't like Steve Harvey as the host. He's obnoxious.
How dare?
He's incredibly disrespect. Obnoxious. I don't like Steve Harvey.
The Harv.
We're back to Phillip bashing celebrities. We took a break from that for the political rants. Now we're back to the bashing celebrities trend.
Now you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we got both in this episode. Okay, so what would you call things like The Amazing Race and Survivor game shows?
No.
Because they're a weird blend, especially Amazing Race. Because Survivor does play up the drama aspect a lot more, but...
Oh, well, okay. I mean, I would say they are kind of game shows, but I feel like they are... I mean...
Because they get put in the reality TV.
They are such a blend of reality and game show that, I mean, there's something else.
See, entirely. But, like... Because, like, I definitely say both of them, especially Amazing Race, but both of them are way closer to a game show than, like, other reality TV. Like, they're nothing like Jersey Shore or whatever the fuck.
Well, there is actual, like...
Because it's much like...
to them.
It's much like game shows where they have very specific rules and game features and things that you do and you don't do. And, like, especially, like I kind of would want to call Amazing Race a game show more than a reality show, because like it is so focused on the game elements and the challenges and very little on the drama, especially because with the eliminations are so rapid, there's not really time for drama.
Yeah, for me it's mainly just a matter of like medium. Like I mean, I am absolutely like comfortable calling Amazing Race or Survivor a game show, because you're right. I mean, there are many similarities between the two and they operate very similar. But to me, it's just like a game show is just like playing like an in-person one-off game. Whereas for those shows, it's like, well, it's I mean, it's like grand, like they are not just answering questions or doing basic tasks. Like they are, it's kind of like the difference between playing chess or playing lacrosse. Like, both games, but like very different kinds of games.
That's true. I guess like you could say like they're on the same spectrum on just some very different sides.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like I definitely say they're much more like game shows than reality shows.
Yes.
But they are their own thing.
Yeah.
But like, what else do you even? That's the thing too. Is like there have been a few other, like I guess there's like Big Brother and stuff, and there's a few other things that like are kind of in this vein. But Survivor and Amazing Race are very much their own animal.
Yeah.
They're their own.
I feel like there must be a term for that kind of TV.
I think they just call it
can't
reality
think of
game
anything
shows
right now.
I think they just lazily call them both, and call it a day.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because like if we qualify Amazing Race, then Amazing Race is my favorite game show. If not, then like I would probably say, does Whose Line count?
I mean, yeah. I was thinking Price is Right. Both have Drew Carey.
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
Man, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was some... Oh, did you ever watch The Weakest Link?
No.
The Weakest Link
but
was fun.
I thought it was a neat concept.
It's very overdramatic. The host was always very, like people, like, used to joke on Trebek for being, like, super serious and uptight. Like, she was, like, to an extreme.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well,
fuck off.
That's also what happens when you're importing it directly from Britain.
Yeah.
They do wacky stuff like that.
Yeah. It's I love game shows, and Jeopardy is very much kind of the prime example. Like, if someone had never seen a game show and they're like, what the fuck's a game show? That would be probably the best intro to what a game show is. Like, because obviously game shows can take a bajillion different forms. There are some that are more, like, there's, like, hole in the wall and shit like that are more, like, physical activity based. There's, I guess Legends of the Hidden Temple would count as a game show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, the shit like that. And, like, I love that show. That was a great show.
Jeopardy is... I mean, I would argue Jeopardy is the show that saved game shows. Or at least, like, brought them back from the edge.
Yeah.
Because they were really big in the early years of television.
And then there was, like, the quiz show scandal.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of scandals.
Jeopardy, because that's the thing, and that's why
scamming.
I think Jeopardy is so important, because it is so strict and formal.
Yeah.
It was as a response to that, like, no, we're going to do this right. We have
Correct.
rules you follow that we follow. You'll get your money if you play right, you play by the rules. We play by the rules too. It has a very strict code. I think almost as a result of that.
Yeah.
Because we have class here. We are not running a scam like those other shows where this is a classy operation. We're doing this because we want to do this.
Well, I read one story that the original concept for Jeopardy originally came from a conversation the creator was having with his wife, in which they were talking about how with the quiz show scandals, the shows were feeding the answers to the contestants, and he was or his wife was like, what if we give the contestants the answers up front and they have to figure out what the question is?
I hope that's how it came out, because that's pretty fun.
That sounds like an urban legendy story, but I also like that could be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like, and that's why Jeopardy is one of, if not the longest running game shows of all time, is that it has that class and structure, and people have joked on it for being uptight and rigid, but like that's why it survived, outlived so many other game shows.
Yeah. Just the fact that it persists throughout popular culture. Like think of the Jeopardy theme song. You hear that in
everyone
everything.
References it. Yeah. And how many SNL Jeopardy skits have there been? Like,
right?
Within the past 2 years?
Yeah. Celebrity Jeopardy, Black Jeopardy.
Yeah, it's still and it's something that SNL keeps going back to, because they know everyone knows it. It's something that everyone can follow the jokes for.
Jeopardy. They've been making Jeopardy for over 30 years. SNL has been making parodies of Jeopardy for at least over 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's like there's a reason for why it's so long lasting and has had such an impact. I feel like people just kind of forget that, like, oh, it's just Jeopardy, it's just a game show. It's been around longer than we've been alive.
Yeah.
Like, it's something our parents have watched since they were kids. Like, that's baffling, but also very impressive.
Well, and especially, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, you have people showing their kids Jeopardy who watched Jeopardy when they were kids, and you have that generational continuity.
Yeah.
Which I mean is really cool to a lot of people.
And there's very little ongoing media like that. Like, sure, like, you know, like, my parents showed me Star Wars when I was a kid, but that was already made, and like the fact that like something is still ongoing, that is still the same but still making new content, like that's an amazing thing for any kind of content creator. The fact that they've been doing that for so fucking long, it's crazy. Yeah, I think we pretty well covered it.
Yeah,
I am incredibly pro Jeopardy. I'm pro game shows as well. I was gonna suggest we put game shows on the list, but I think we had a pretty good talk on game shows overall. Yeah, pro game shows, pro Jeopardy, 100%. Pro Trebek, he's an amazing man. Wish him all the best. Hope he's doing well.
Agreed. Yeah, pro Jeopardy, pro game shows, pro Alex Trebek.
Quality stuff. Please keep doing it. Everybody involved, you're doing great shit. Keep it up.
All right, mystery task.
Cool. Time to find a mystery subject. It's a classic, Seth. All right, Seth, what did you just watch?
So, Phillip just sent me this video by a man named Julian Smith titled Malk, and it was a video in which a man asked his friends if they would like a glass of milk, and then they responded by referring to milk with strange vowels which do not go in milk. And, it just kind of went downhill from there. I had never seen that before.
Really?
Really?
That baffles me.
Yeah. What was it like a big thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the view count, dude.
I've never even heard of Julian Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
He was, like, one of the first, like, viral YouTubers. Like, he...
Well, yeah, 2009.
Yeah, that was over a decade ago. But yeah, no, Malk is incredibly well known. Like, it has like 34 million views, I think. Yeah. 33.
Hey, we're almost there.
Yeah, we're only a couple tens of millions away. We'll get there.
We are literally a million times less than that on our highest.
Yeah, no, like, they are like a staple of early YouTube, and like, cause they're like some of the first ones that are like actually funny, at least to some degree. At least I think so.
Gotcha. It does seem to be a bit. It was about the same era as like Fred or Nigahiga.
Yeah.
But like it does seem to have a little bit higher of production quality.
Yeah, they like tried to make like actual sketches, like variety show kind of sketches, and like that Malk is one of my favorites of theirs. They have some other pretty famous ones too, like Hot Kool-Aid, With Child, Jellyfish is another big one of theirs. I'm not a big fan of that one though. Like, and they became like, as a whole, their channel never blew up quite as much as like a lot of those other early YouTubers, but they had a few like ultra viral hits.
Gotcha.
I don't think they're regularly still making content anymore, which is a shame because like they had some pretty good stuff, I thought. Mm-hmm. But what did you think of what you just saw?
I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know. It seemed like it was funny, and like the people were very entertaining, but it was very straightforward. There was only like two things that happened in it, really. So there was the mispronunciation of milk. There was the like everyone draws their guns. And then there was the revelation that this was a hypothetical being posed. That was pretty much the plot of it. It was very straightforward. Most of what gave it a little bit of sort of character or dimension, I suppose, it is the sort of twists that they would throw in occasionally, like the one guy pronouncing milk an even different way, or like at the end when the guy is keeping his cat in an oven.
It's too dark, man. Get in there. See, I mean, I think it didn't need to be super complicated, though. I mean, it's only a 2-minute video. Yeah. And, like, I think it has the base fundamentals of comedy are there. It has its setup, and then it just keeps slowly one-upping itself one step at a time.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? Was, there's this short story called The School, and it's sort of that similar concept of there's not really much of a plot to it, but just like one random thing happens and then another, and it just like keeps on escalating and escalating, so you never really know what's going to come next or how big it's going to be. Like, one day a kid comes in and says his parrot dies. The next day, a kid pushes another kid. The next day, a kid, like, falls off of the jungle gym. The next day, the kids are, like, asking the teacher to have sex in front of them.
Oh.
Just like...
Actually, I feel like I've heard of this before.
You've almost certainly... You almost certainly have. It's a pretty well-known story. But I definitely got similar vibes from that of just kind of like always trying to find a new way to kind of like twist the narrative or keep it interesting.
I mean, I feel like it's the same as like any SNL sketch, though. Like
yeah.
Like it's not really, it's not meant to be like, this isn't a short film so much it is just a video sketch.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think it needs like any stronger plot.
But that's also, and I mean, I love SNL, but I mean, quite frankly, the vast majority of SNL sketches I also don't find funny.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not a huge
I watch it for the diamonds in the rough of it.
Like, I mean, honestly, I think this is funnier than a lot of the SNL sketches I've seen. But like, I mean, it's also very much my brand of comedy. Just like basic weird word shit. Even like, it's not wordplay, but it is playing with the English language and people's perception of pronunciation, and especially like it's especially like this is around the time when like grammar Nazis on the internet was like a big thing that people threw around, and like people getting on people for pronunciation and grammar and spelling. So like I feel like this is almost a reactionary to that, and like because like we all know people. Hell, we probably are those people at least sometimes who like get on to like, I mean, hell, we've done it to each other on this fucking podcast of like making fun of when we say something weird or say something a certain way, and that's just,
or say fuck 7 times in a sentence.
Fuck.
You're slurring your words. That isn't a real word anymore.
Falk.
Kind of.
Pour the man a glass of falk.
Falk you.
Ooh. Falcon Punch. I mean, it's just it's taking something that most people have experienced in some way and just taking it to its comedic extreme, and that's most comedy. And like I think it works very well. I think it's funny. I think it's not necessarily something that like makes you die laughing like oh, but like it makes you smile, and it's like, huh, that's funny. It makes me snort, makes me smirk.
Yeah.
And I think it's all it needs to do.
It is very clearly like 2009 era humor.
Yeah.
Like, I could absolutely tell what era this was from, just like without even looking at the date.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because it has that very sort of spontaneous and experimental feel to it.
Yeah, especially
just
with the random dark shit
we just want to throw something random all over the place.
But like I don't know, it's also a very quotable video. Like even if like you've probably heard me quote this video unknowingly.
Probably.
What? You're gonna shoot me if I shoot myself? How does that make any sense?
I was very disappointed that he like said that, because I was thinking before he said it that oh hey, that's pretty humorous. They're gonna shoot him for him shooting himself, and then he explained it to me, and then I was like, well, now I don't think it's funny anymore.
Well, see, but then they were like, that was, I don't know, the joke could have gone either direction, but like they went with then we'll just turn it on ourselves, and that's still a funny moment too. It's a standoff, but with them all going to shoot themselves instead of him.
I'm glad you find suicide so funny.
Depends on how it's done, like any humor. I really had to be careful what I said there. Even that could be volatile.
I think you should take one for the team.
Let me go grab my noose real quick.
Yeah. Oh, that's not what I meant.
I'm gonna kill myself over this. It's good. I think it's good. I think it's funny. I enjoy it. That is one of the few. Because like often I'll go back and look at old YouTube videos that I thought were fucking hilarious when I was a kid, and I'll be like, then maybe this is still funny. They almost never are. This is one of the few that like I will consistently go back to, and like if like I'll reference it, and like a friend will be like, oh, like I've never heard of that, and I'll be like, well, we're gonna fix that. This is one of the few that like I still to this day return to and show people. And like hell, even like I've shown friends it, and like they don't think it's necessarily funny, but then like I'll quote it again later, and like they'll have fun. Like now they get the reference, and they'll reference it and quote it, even if they didn't like it when they watched it, and like they it's still very quotable and accessible, even if it's not necessarily one's brand of humor. And I think that's good writing. Of like even if someone doesn't necessarily vibe with it, they can still reference it and enjoy it to some capacity.
I can't wait for you to come visit me next time, and then you can ask, Seth, why is there a bunch of meowing coming from your kitchen? And I'll be like, oh, Phillip, don't you get the reference?
You're making me dinner. It's yummy. You're feeding me that pussy.
Oh, no.
Yum, yum, yum. I made it dark and bad in several different ways, and that's what I love.
So I am anti that.
Everything that just came out of my mouth.
Yes. I'm anti Phillip right now.
I'm also anti Phillip most of the time. That's okay.
But I am, just kind of meh towards Malk.
Fair enough.
I'm meh towards Malk.
Pour me a glass of milk.
Milk?
I'm gonna show you hot Kool-Aid next.
Oh no.
Brother, drink my hot Kool-Aid. You'd get it if you watched the video. You just don't get it. Seth right. Just doesn't get it, audience.
I just don't get it. I'm not cool.
He doesn't get it. I'm surprised you've never seen it with as much like YouTube as you watched as when you were younger. Like, cause this was pretty fucking big. Yeah. But we all have our faults.
I also like mainly just stuck to my like I mean, with most things, I am a brand snob. I find the one or two things I like, and I stick to those.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am pro Malk. I am pro most of the Julian Smith videos I've seen. I'd say I'm pro. Like, there's some good ones there. They were funny dudes. I don't know what they're doing now, but I hope they're creating stuff.
Are they all Julian Smith?
Because I think Julian Smith is the name of the channel. I don't know. I don't know their history. I don't know their. I don't know if it's just the name of the channel. If it's one dude that just grabbed all his friends and made them do work under his name. I don't know. But whoever they are, I hope they're writing stuff, because like I think they're pretty funny dudes. Yeah. Hopefully they're making stuff out there and aren't like actually terrible people or something.
That would be nice. A nice change of pace.
Yeah, let's have some people not be shitty. That'd be cool. We're gonna be the first non-shitty YouTuber. Oh fuck! I already fucked it up. Just by existing.
Philip, we will not be the non-shitty anything.
I'm a great person. Thank you very much. I've only shit talked 5 or 6 celebrities.
Everyone. Gone on this week.
Several political rants, and I'm stirring the pot, man. That's how you get traction as a YouTuber. Stir the pot.
That's how you stirring the pot is always a sign of a non-shitty person.
Yeah.
Shitty people don't stir the pot.
It's true. Like, they just let it simmer and the bottom gets burned. You don't want that. Don't burn your mac and cheese. I've decided we're cooking mac and cheese. But yeah, I'm for Julian Smith. I think they're funny guys. Check them out. Link in the description below. I think that's about it. Seth, you got any closing statements for our fans?
Nope.
All right. Seth said, fuck y'all. He has nothing to say to you all.
Philip's... Oh, okay. No, I want to leave y'all with this important message. Philip's dumb.
No, you.
Aww.
Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you guys liked it. Check us out on Spotify if you haven't already, or check us out on YouTube if you're listening to us on Spotify. We're making more and more content. We're doing things. I'm slowly making videos. We have a video now on the channel as of recording this. Go watch me play Final Fantasy because we ran out of other ideas for content. Maybe Seth will contribute something eventually.
Eventually. One of these years.
Yeah, eventually. By the end of 2023,
yeah,
you might have something.
Yeah, definitely by the end of 2020. You know what? By the end of 2022.
Oh,
I think
that's
I'll have
fast.
something.
That's rapid.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm a quick guy.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening. Check us out on YouTube or Spotify or other major podcast platforms. As always, this has been Phillip and Seth. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Brew Neighbors. Thank you guys for listening. I love you.
We love y'all. Before you turn off the recording, though, we also need to run the list.
Oh, fuck, you're right. I completely forgot about that.
I mean, we can do it right now and edit it before the closing.
Or this can just be the bit of Phillip fucking up.
Or that's the bit.
Like, I thought the episode was over. No.
Phillip.
Yes.
Phillip, do something. Make it go.
I'm working on it. I'm walking over here. Let's go to the randomizer.
Hey, audience. Please tell us in the comments. Rate on a scale from 1 to 10 how sad Phillip makes you feel on a daily basis.
Excuse you, I've been told by at least 2 people that I am funny. Doesn't matter if I was one of them.
Hey, okay, I'm the funniest person I know, so I should believe myself.
That's true. I'm a humorous boy. That's my shtick. You know how, like, peacocks have, like, bright feathers to lure mates? It's like that, but for me it's stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is my peacock feathers. All right, random it up. So our first topic for next week, Seth, is going to be... birds. Yeah, we can rock with some birds.
Yeah, tweet.
All right, so yeah, next week we'll be talking about birds, and our media subject for next week is going to be... So yeah, all right, Seth, our random...
randomizer.
All right, Seth. So our media subject for next week is going to be Among Us, the hit new game.
Wow, that's
yeah, it's nice that the randomizer gave that to us. That the randomizer said you guys need the algorithm from YouTube. Get that popular thing.
That's so random that the randomizer, wants us to get views.
This randomizer is really fucking good. It picked something that wasn't even on the list. So yeah, we just want to talk about Among Us. Yeah, tune in next week for Birds, Among Us, and Seth's mystery topic. So stay tuned for that. We love you all. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Good night.